uploading videos talking about this house arrest and about other things. Remember to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and share this video for family and friends. Hope you have a good time watching my dad's videos. Bye!
Good morning. What a beautiful morning. Lovely and warm here on the Costa del Sol. Beautiful Saturday morning. I've had a tremendous amount of questions, and I'm going to answer the first 8, the main 8 that I've been asked by numerous people. I've had over 1,000 questions in the last 24 hours. But we'll try and cover more as we go through it, and hopefully we can establish the truth of what's really going on. The first question we're going to address was one of the first ones to come through, and that's why I'm going to address it, is the question about the ZIMs, the Zimbabwe money, the Zimbabwe bonds. Now, most people know, who followed me for a while, that I spent 60 euros buying $10 trillion Zimbabwean notes. Now, if they turn into money, great. If they don't, it doesn't matter. It's 60 quid. It's not my life savings. I've just done it as a bit of fun. Now, when it comes to exchanging those, because they have no value at the moment anyway, that's why you can buy them on eBay for next to nothing. But if they becomes of value to them, it's not that simple to just go into an exchange bureau and change them for any other currency. And some of you will have known from the intel that we get that they will be issuing free phone numbers in America, where based on how you are as a person and what your intentions are, and whether your heart is pure, will depend very much on whether they're willing to exchange them and what they're going to exchange them for. And this is why the 1-800 numbers are being issued, and there's guidelines that will be issued as to what you can and can't spend them on, because the whole idea of this is to increase the quality of everybody's life in the world. And countries like Zimbabwe have been oppressed for many, many years. So it may well mean, I remember talking about this 14 weeks ago, and it may well mean that they'll give you a good value, but it will have to be spent in Zimbabwe, maybe. And maybe our job, once we have them, will be to share our experiences and share our skills to try and educate and help people climb the ladder of life. The one thing that we all have is experience. And if we can share that with people, we've learnt an awful lot in our lives. So we'll know more about the exchange mechanism for the ZIMs, as they're called. And we'll know more as to the value of them, depending on the value of you as a person and me as a person. And so we're moving into a completely different world. We're leaving behind the world of dominance of money, and we're moving into a new place. It is the Great Awakening. And there will be a financial reset, a revaluation of currency. And I've said this for the whole way through the journey, and it's now starting to become clearer. There are still those completely in the dark, don't believe a word of it, but we have some very, very good inside information. But look, as I've said millions of times, I'm not the Messiah, I'm just Charlie. But I choose to believe, and it gives me a certain peace, knowing that what I'm being told makes sense. And if you go back to the start of this journey, I was told at the end of last year that this was all going to happen. This is why I believe it now, because what I was told is now happening. So it's not a fantasy. I was told this was going to happen 6 years ago. Then I was told 2 years ago. And then in December last year, they told me they were going to start this year. And I thought it was a joke, I'll be honest. But then when it started to happen, I started to wake up to realize it wasn't a joke. It's not a joke. Things are happening. So that was the first question that came in about the ZIMs. And the more information we get, the more I'll share with you. The second information is not dissimilar. It's about currency. Now, as well as Zims, I've also got some Vietnamese dong, because there's talk that those could be valued. I don't know. Again, I didn't spend a lot of money on them, but it's one of those little gambles. If it pays off, great. If it doesn't pay off, it cost me a few quid. Gold and silver, always very, very good investments and solid. I personally have a preference for gold. A lot of people have a preference for silver. There is no right, there is no wrong. It comes down to what you're happy with. And I wouldn't go against either. It's how you feel and what you have. The theory is that silver will go up a lot faster. That may happen. Gold, always been a solid commodity. And now it's going to be backing our currencies, becomes even more valuable. So both are very, very good. Now we get on to the third question, which I've had hundreds and hundreds on, which is Nosara and Jisara. Well, the last two times they tried to roll this out, tragic things happened. So this time, they're making no mistakes. I'm pretty confident that we will move into the world of Nosara and Jisara. Pretty confident on what I'm hearing. You can go onto the website and study about Nosara. There's a good amount of information. I also put on my wall a link, which is the documentation that was laid out regarding Nosara and Jisara, to give you more of an insight to the technical side, the taxation side, and whatever. There's a huge amount of information there. But that's how I feel that we are moving. I am more confident now than I was 14 weeks ago with Nosara and Jisara. 209 countries have signed up to it. So if 209 countries have signed up to it, it must be serious. You don't sign up to something just for a joke. And we're dealing with serious countries. You know, China, Russia, the United Kingdom, Canada. America's obviously Nosara, but the rest of the world, global, is Jisara. But all these countries have signed up. So we're in a good place with that. But look, it's like going to the beach. You want to know what it's like, but when we get there, you'll enjoy the beauty of it. But we're still on the journey. We're still on the journey, and it's an amazing journey. I'm just looking forward to getting to the other side, but I'm incredibly peaceful, incredibly calm about it, knowing that we're moving into a better place. So that's the third question. The fourth question, which I've got a lot of questions about, was about Bill Gates. Well, most of you know my thoughts on Bill Gates. Bill Gates created the Microsoft computer. Did an amazing job. But they were all, incredibly reliable, and that's not very good for business. So he created in the computer a virus. And then he created an antivirus. And he made an absolute fortune out of that. So he certainly thought to himself, do you know what? If I can do that, and with the amount of money I've got, he's got control and he's got power. So he starts pumping money into the World Health Organization, the CDC, the Imperial College in London. He starts paying some big name players, politicians, giving them big lumps of money, so that he can infiltrate the human world and create a virus and a vaccine. And without even knowing it, we all fell for it. Or did we? Some of us woke up. Some of us woke up to what he was up to. Because the one thing you don't need to be a genius to work out what somebody's at. He's got no qualifications in the medical world, none at all. And yet everyone's listening to him on the medical side because he's got money, he's got power. And things are changing, and he will be held accountable. Because I don't care what way you look at it, it doesn't matter. He has been responsible for the death of many people. Now, if I was found guilty of killing one person, I'd go to prison for life, for murder. So don't think for 1 minute he's going to get away with it just because he hides behind a vaccine. He will be held accountable. He'll be held accountable for what he's done. I pointed out a very interesting fact about the people who died from COVID-19. So say, every single person that died of COVID-19 coronavirus had a vaccine, a flu vaccine. And nobody died from COVID-19 who had not had the flu vaccine. Surely that must ring alarm bells with you. Surely it must wake people up to the truth. You can look at that as factual evidence. And that's pretty disturbing. And then you look at his trials in India, his trials in Africa, and he's killed thousands of children, thousands. He's got lawsuits against him, and yet we all listen to him. But don't worry, put your faith in God. He'll handle him. It's a shame he's not Russian, really, because Putin has that wonderful line. It's not my job to judge you. It's my job to send you to a man who will judge you, which is a bit cheeky, a bit naughty, but it does make me smile. But his day will come. So I promise you, Trump does have him in his sights, 100%. So that was question number 4. Question number 5, what about Boris? Well, Boris, bless him, he's a bumbling buffoon, isn't he? We all know that. But it's very difficult to bumble for 14 weeks. He was told, like the rest of the leaders in Europe and the world, to create confusion and fear. And he's done a very, very good job of that. He's created complete and utter confusion and complete and utter fear. And he looks completely incompetent. But that was what his mandate was to do by Trump. But Trump has control of him, I promise you. I promise you he has total control over him. He knows what he's doing. Trump, the more I'm hearing, the more I'm seeing, is so much in control of this journey. It's an absolute privilege to live in this time and watch what's happening. And he's the only president I've seen for a very, very long time that looks younger after 4 years of service than the rest of them. Maybe it's down to having a wife that looks like Melania, I don't know. Who knows? But he's doing an amazing job in draining the swamp. But we're in a very dangerous period right now, because the swamp, after throwing haymakers, it's like a boxer on his last legs. They're very, very dangerous because they're all arms and legs, throwing out punches from every which way. And Antifa is the boxer that's out on its feet. And they're fighting like dogs, and they're causing chaos. They're up, but he'll show them for what they really are. And we're moving into a far better time. But to get there, we're having to go through a difficult time. I know that. So that's the 6th one. The 7th one, talking about Italy. I've had a number of people saying about the autopsies that were done in Italy that showed that it wasn't COVID-19, it was a thrombosis. So the questions have been, if it was a thrombosis, what stimulated the thrombosis, or what was the cause of the thrombosis? First of all, there had to be complete confusion and chaos and lockdown, and really big lockdown in Italy for a number of reasons: to clean out the Vatican, to clean out the mafia bosses, the cabal, the deep state, deeply embedded. So that's why there was so much pressure right at the start to get them out, because there was loads of them there. And that was actually done by 5G, which tells you how dangerous it can be. It stimulated the thrombosis. So Mark Steele is absolutely bang on right that we need to be very, very careful in what we're doing, because they can adjust it to stimulate thrombosis. And that's dangerous. That's very, very dangerous. So, and if you look at where the 5G towers were, you don't need to be a genius to see exactly how it was done, because the places that needed to be hit hard all had 5G towers installed. So we need to keep our eyes open as to what's going on, because into the wrong hands, that becomes incredibly dangerous. The question is, who's the right hands? And the other one, the eighth question I'm going to cover now, which is one of my favorites. This is the world we're moving into. It's beautiful. We're moving away from the corruption of the World Health Organization, the CDC, NATO, UNICEF, all these corrupt, awful organizations that have been blocking cures. There's over 6,000 patents that have been blocked for curing cancer, for curing so many things. And they've been blocked by the big pharma groups funded by Bill Gates, because he wants to get his vaccine out there. And once he's out of the way, and they get these patents out that the WHO have blocked on his say-so, then we move into a brighter world. And he's killed enough people with the vaccines, but he's also allowed people to die where there was cures for them. That'll all come out. That'll all come out, and that will come out so that things are a lot clearer and a lot better. But we're moving into a better world. And on the spiritual level, this weekend is the start of something extremely big that's happening, that will probably take 7 to 10 days to roll out, that will start to make a lot more sense. And I think hopefully by the 8th, 9th of July, we'll get a far clearer picture of what's happening. But let's see. As I've said, and I've said, say it again, I'm not the Messiah, I'm just Charlie. I'm just trying to find out the truth, and I have a lot of good sources, and I'm trying to establish what is right and what's not right. But anyway, you have a wonderful weekend, and just know in your heart that we're moving to a better world and a better place. And remember, Jesus loves you, even if everybody else thinks you're a twat.